question for us? What's something you would like to know about Americans?
How is in America now? Like, is unemployment very bad? What is the unemployment?
Historically high.
It's
Close to
high.
10%.
And that's very
For
high for
America,
America.
very high.
Yes.
It's very high.
Very
Full employment for us is about 4.5%.
I see.
That's sort of the bottom, below which we start having problems if the unemployment rate is too low, you have a problem. So we're near historic highs for non-depression period. So it's a very serious problem for us. We also seem to be making, as you believe you're in good condition, I think the majority of Americans think that we're in bad condition and getting worse. We're making a lot of decisions that are rather poor.
Well, the deficit spending is...
Well, deficit spending is, again, you're talking about increasing taxes. And I don't know anyone who ever taxed their way out of an unfortunate economic condition. We used to have a politician who was, I think pretty bright, named Jack Kemp. He's running for vice president once, and he made a very simple analogy. What you tax, you get less of, and what you subsidize, you get more of. We tend to be subsidizing those things that are unproductive, and we're taxing those things that are productive. And it's very poor for the country. I mean, somewhere along the line you have to pay your own way.
Yeah.
And right now I think you pay 20 euros when you see a doctor. What happens when that goes up to 100 euros? What's that effect on you? I mean, 20, those are the kinds of changes that we're going to be seeing. Really very, very large increases in all of those costs, not only in taxes, but in all of those things the government provides, because they can no longer afford to subsidize them.
In some cases, we're becoming like Europe. Under President Obama, he's trying to do a lot of things that's socializing versus the capitalistic way we have been living. And there is a political clash because a lot of Americans voted for him, and now finally it's not exactly what they thought he did. He presented one thing, and now he's doing things that we're not accustomed, or a lot of us are not accustomed to, including taking over the banks, taking over the car company. We're not used to that. We're used to companies winning or losing based upon their own capital method. If a car company is going to go under, then it goes under. It goes bankrupt. You don't put money in from the taxpayers to save the car company, and he's doing that. A lot of people are saying because we're such a bad recession that we never had anything like that since the 1930s, they had to take some steps to avoid a total, depression. The problem is that you got to get yourself out of that now, and a number of people are feeling that we're not doing the right things to get there.
Look at the bright side. Fiat bought Chrysler at bargain price.
There are a lot of voters in this country that are suffering buyer's remorse in the United States. Obama was elected by promoting change, you can believe it, but he never really outlined what those changes were going to be. And now that he's implemented those changes, there's a relatively high level of dissatisfaction among a lot of people.
There's a book out, just come out, it's called America's a 70-30 country. 70% of people believe in free enterprise, and 30% believe in a progressive, redistributive way of wealth. And that 30% happens to run all the levers of power in the United States. And then that's why you're seeing significant dissatisfaction among the 70%. They're fearful of how their countries are going. Now, the 30% think they're not bad people, but they think that's the best way to go, and that's the tussle right now.
I see.
I'd like to know about Italian television. Here, and we get BBC, and do you have situation comedies or movies or whatever that you watch normally on TV, or your children's programming?
Well, what do you have besides RAI and Canale 5?
We have,
which is all we get now.
1, 2, 3 channels, which are our state channels, and then we have other 4 televisions which belong to the Premier, the private television, but they belong to the Premier Berlusconi, and then we have many other local televisions. Yes. Now at the moment, actually television, we have many beautiful movies, but like at 2 a.m. And then there are a lot of talk shows, lot of, come si chiamano quelle robe tipo l'Isola dei Famosi?
Reality show.
Lot of reality shows. The reality show is something that I really cannot stand. Also because then, as a matter of fact, I think that television is all the time because they're very cheap. Because they cost almost nothing, because they take common people who are glad just because they go on television, so the production is very cheap. And this is the reason because they do them all the time, and I don't understand why people look at those programs.
You have a lot of documentary television?
Not too many. Now with cable televisions we have some channels which are only dedicated to that, and that is something I like, and there is one dedicated to history. There is one which is like the National Geography, and those I like very much. Then some other pay TV, where, for example, you can see only the movies, but not too many movies for free on the national televisions anymore. I mean, we have them, but late. Then we have some Americans TV movie, I like them very much, like CSI Miami. And we have them, of course they speak Italian. Because
What's your usual evening? Do you watch TV with your family, or do you play cards or talk, or you don't watch TV with your family?
no.
Not a lot. Sometimes. When there is soccer, oh yeah.
How did you get into the business that you're in? You
My
went
father
to high
was,
school and then something happened after that.
yeah, so I ended my school studies. I didn't go to university. I stopped before, and then my father was a loss adjuster, and I just came after him.
Insurance adjuster.
Well, Tina, I'd like to ask if either of our guests have been to the United States, and particularly Mariana, if she has not been, where she would like to go first.
Never been. And I don't know because every place I have been told about is wonderful. So New York and California, and so the choice is quite hard. I don't know, but surely I would like to go and as soon as possible.
I've been in New York City, Miami, Atlantic City, Washington DC.
Oh, the whole East Coast.
I didn't go to the West Coast.
Would you go back?
Yes. I would leave tomorrow.
Any?
I really felt at home. When I was in the States, I really felt at home. Even in New York City, when I was in Manhattan, it happened something really I really liked very much. I was walking, and sometimes you just look around and say, "Oh, where I am now." Yes, of course you have a map, but you get lost. I could stop. Everybody was always ready to say, "Oh no, 2 blocks over." Really, if it happens in Milan, it's not the same. You say, "No, I have no time."
She lives in Milan.
I was born there too.
Valentina, have you ever been to the United States?
Yes, when I went to New York, actually, I really felt at home too. I don't know, maybe because it's a city that has every kind of population, you can listen to every kind of language, every kind of food, there is everything there. So I think that everybody feels at home, and I really like the city very much. I had a great time. Yes.
Do any of you have family over there, or distant relations? Or?
No, I don't. No, nobody. C'è qualche famiglia?
No, when I came the last time, there was a friend who was living there in Long Island. And so I went.
You said it the right way.
Long
Long Island.
Yeah, he's from there. This two are from there. This
the shark part, right?
I'm from New York City and we never say Long Island. We never even think of Long Island. Is that part of New York?
What do your children like to do?
What they really love,
Now, what do they do?
they love to ride horses.
Do you have horses?
Yes.
There you go. How many?
We have three.
Three.
And 4 dogs and 3 cats.
What are their ages? What are your children's ages? How old are they?
And I have a daughter, 10 years, and the son, 8 years.
Okay, very good.
Beatrice and Vittorio.
Beautiful names.
They don't play video games.
Oh,
No.
of course they do.
On horseback.
Do you try to say something when they play too much?
Yeah,
You try to avoid that they play too much video games?
of course I try to avoid, but we are quite lucky because we live in the countryside. So I think that when children live in the city, of course everything is very difficult also to get out of. And of course they are always in television, but we live in the countryside, so they go or with horses, or they just go out with the dogs. I have a garden, and I like that they touch what there is outside. This is very important, not only virtual reality.
You're lucky to live in such a beautiful area. It's gorgeous.
I was really choosing this because I still work in Milan, so every morning I have to go there and to go back in the evening.
Can you tell us about the schools that your children go to and then what the process is to apply to universities?